That's bullshit.
Breakfast.
It didn't warn him about being out in the sun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, he took a pretty good hit.
Hey, he told me his kidneys shut down. He shut down his kidneys.
Yeah. We went and saw him at the hospital. He was, good morning everybody. We're at Greasy Rick's. It's Rick's Barbecue, but we call it Greasy Rick's lovingly. We don't say that derogatory, we say it lovingly because we were raised on grease.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're allowed to talk about it.
Anybody that's ever had red-eye gravy knows what that's all about.
Anybody that's
we
ever
used to
had
have
my
a lot of
mother's-
red-eye gravy.
Anybody that's ever had my mother or father's cooking would know what that's all about.
So, I dug deep for this t-shirt today. Squirrel Whisperer. Our sister got he and me one of these after we did a squirrel hunt down at my place. And let's see, you shot a couple of squirrel nests, and we missed.
Chased one with 5 shots.
Yeah, we did real good that day. And Mary caught wind of that, and she was always quick to give us something.
Oh yeah, she was always quick to do that, and
And at Christmas, we'd always get some sort of squirrel.
I still have them all.
I do too.
Oh yeah, she.
So here's to you, Mary,
Yeah, Mary. Thanks for all the squirrels.
little princess,
The princess.
the princess.
Yes. Yeah. So I bought. I went down and bought a serpentine belt for the band.
Yeah.
But I wound up buying 2. One that without a compressor, so the belt's obviously shorter, and then one with a compressor. And the reason why I did that is because there's so much drag and vibration and stuff with the belt currently on the compressor, and it's due to the clutch and the back plate is all just wonky. So I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to get one that will bypass that, and then when I can afford to buy the compressor and drum it, then when that's installed, when I get that installed,
You have the other belt. Yeah.
put the other belt on.
It's weird it's making that sound. I mean, it should have a tensioner on it.
Well, and I believe it's because the clutch just mostly melted away.
Yeah.
Just melted, so it's just a hunk of metal that's hanging there. And then once you take off and stuff, and get some speed, then the centrifugal force kind of equals it out.
Yeah.
But it's really rough when you're starting off. Actually, but this morning it wasn't. So I was surprised about that. Yeah, we're catching it pretty good. Okay. Anyway, so that's what I did. Went fishing.
You went fishing. Did you see my Facebook post?
Yeah, I'm like,
Send this to somebody that when it comes to fishing sucks.
oh geez, that would have been me. But I got to try out a new chair. I bought this folding chair that actually you can even call ahead.
Yeah. Holy moly.
Man,
We got like 10 cooks back there. Here, let me go.
Just one.
Well, that equals 10 men cooks.
yeah. Yes. So, this chair, I'll show you when we leave. I'll show you. It has a shield that you can pull up over it, and then you can drop down these kind of curtain things on the side, and it folds. The shield envelops the chair and then snaps together, and then you can backpack that bad boy. I'm telling you, man, this is the life of Riley chair right here. It's awesome.
No, what I'm getting off on is the backpack that bad boy.
backpack.
You're gonna backpack.
Yeah.
Going to Twin Lakes
It,
up
no,
on
it was backpack probably 50 feet. Because I
Well,
didn't backpack
actually, if
any
it's
more than
in
that.
backpack design, that means you can hold a beer and a cigarette as you're going.
Yeah,
There it
and your
is.
fishing pole, tackle, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
that-
your other backpack. You know, yeah, it's the bomb. And Karen was gonna go with me. She expressed an interest to go fishing with me, but she had promised a couple weeks back to take Rebecca to go have coffee at Patty Cake, so she didn't go with me. That was her exit strategy.
Pretty smart.
Yeah, she's a forward thinker,
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
You know, but think about it. You know that one little bit of you felt good that my wife wants to go with you fishing,
Yeah, that's what it
and
was.
then she shut it right down on you because prior engagement.
Yeah, I really would like to go with you, but I did promise Rebecca
Yeah.
that, you know, I was going to go have coffee with her.
Well, that's been that way for years for everybody.
But
And
it was a real,
when you
real
get to our
warm,
age,
fuzzy.
yeah, but when you get to our age, you kind of like. I've seen it before.
Well, yeah, it was like, well, I know I would have had to give up my brand new chair because I literally told people, like, yeah, I bought this for Karen for her comfort. When in fact,
Oh, brother.
yeah, it was. It
So,
was
where'd you go fishing?
Okay, it's called Terrell Park. Terrell.
That sounds familiar.
Owned by Tokayo.
That's Tokyo.
Tokyo, TikTok, I don't care. That little community over there. But it's behind the diamond mine, is what it is.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah. And, yeah, so I broke out a small handful of shrimp and set them out on the ground to fall, and, and I was feeding the fish, and, I didn't catch anything. But I got to feed them. And, it was
So-
good.
Are there trout over there?
Well, given that I didn't drag anything up,
No.
I don't know what's in there.
Well, I doubt it because, once you get a little further away from the dam where that cold water's at, yeah, I don't think they can handle it. I remember Dad and I were up in North Umpqua and stopped at this place to fish. And I remember him pointing out, and they were like dead trout. He says, "Oh man, they just pumped this full of fish." Because you always have a few die in
Sure.
the process. And you could look out there in the water and see this big, long, black streak, and it was just trout.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we literally caught our limit. I mean, I'd be reeling in one, and there'd be like 4 of them around it trying to get that fly out of its mouth. But it was middle summer, and this is for the Umpqua. I mean, you know how cold that river was,
Oh, yeah.
and even with that, those fish were mushy.
Really?
Yeah, remember that.
Well, I left out of here after I went to O'Reilly's first, and then I left out of here, and it was about 10 minutes to 9. It was already 75 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I left, which was about 11, 86 degrees. So, the water was just, they ain't going to do anything. They're hiding right now.
When you're coming from Mineral Springs and you turn on Barton Beltsville Road, come to the house, that bridge that you cross, there's a big hole of water right there.
Oh, where's that?
Oh yeah, and plenty of places to fish. And I was told that hole has flathead catfish. That's the best catfish right there.
Okay.
And in most cases, you have to catch those with like live bait and stuff. They don't, they don't suck up chicken livers and things of that nature. But
I've just been using shrimp. I mean, I bought a bag of small shrimp at Walmart. I take it with me fishing, tear off a handful out of the frozen block and set it down. And then when that block is depleted, then I'm done. I get out of there. Then I take the bag and I put it back in the freezer and grab it for the next time. Yeah. I didn't get anything, but boy, that chair is cool. So did you buy that keyboard? Send it to David?
Well, they didn't give me an option to send it to him, so it's coming to the house. And I'll get it over to him, yeah. I told him about it. We'll see.
That's so funny when he mentioned that. He won't change computers and his keyboard's dead. Well, buy another keyboard. That'll work. I mean, if this guy is comfortable with this machine and it's got all this crap on it, leave him alone.
Hopefully he has some kind of backup though.
Yeah. Well, he said he's a writer, so.
Yeah, he wrote, according to what Dave said, he wrote the book, that show on TV, that series called Deadliest Catch.
Yeah.
That's what it's based on. Speaking of Deadliest Catch, when I was doing an accident investigation in Alaska, and of course I had to coordinate with all kinds of people,
Right.
While I was doing that, and then I had to outbrief those folks up there, and it was these guys were part of Alaskan Command, and but I met this major. He was one of the staffs to the general up there, and and we went out to lunch down in holy moly, I can't think of the town in Alaska. Yeah, we went downtown to have a bite to eat and talking to him and everything, and now he was Army National Guard, okay, but he was under Alaskan Command, and so he was telling me, he says, we got talking about life and stuff like that. He says, yeah, I was a king crab fishing boat captain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where they fish out in the Bering Sea.
Yeah.
And he said,
cold and rough out there.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I mean, I've seen this on YouTube where they're in the Bering Sea. They take a glass of water and drop it into the water out there, and it starts freezing the water inside the glass. Yeah, and there's a lot of things about it. I mean, they wear these special suits. If you fall into that water, you have about 4 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
If you fall into that water with the suit properly installed on you, you possibly have about 40 minutes.
Okay. Dry suit.
And so what he was telling me, he says, I was the captain of this boat, and he said it sunk. I'm like, in the Bering Sea? And he goes, yeah. And he says, I made sure everybody got off. And he said, I'm standing on the bows. It just goes underwater.
Oh,
And what it was the guy, the owner of the boat, I guess was wealthy, but he was a cheapskate. He bought this, it was a concrete boat. And he said it just, it had been retrofit to do this fishing, that they were going to do this crabbing.
right.
And, he said the owner would come out with us, and he said everybody wore these suits, and he said I had 2 people on that boat that would not wear the suit properly, and I'd have to yell at them all the time, get your suit back, zipped up and stuff. He said one of the crew that, he was always, keeping it unzipped, and stuff like that while he was working. And then the owner, he said he'd take it half off, and work out there because it was just too hot for him, right? Those 2 guys died because, couldn't get it on fast enough or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, wow, that is amazing. I says, I've never, you're the first guy I ever met that, was involved in a boating accident like that.
And the owner.
Yeah, the owner.
Wow. Well, what we learned.
Yeah, I met some interesting people on that trip. I went up there 3 times. The last time that I went up there, that was when I was finishing up everything. The command sergeant major wanted to come with me, and I'm like, fine, let's go. And I told him, I said, the problem up there is the leadership. And that's how I wrote the accident report up. Was leadership. They had this colonel, I think he was from Missouri, that was over the project there. It was called Alaskan Road. It was on Metlakatla Island. And, Annetta Island, where the Metlakatla Indians were at. And they had made a deal in World War II with the U.S. government. The government said, if you'll allow us to put an air base here on this island, later we'll build you a road from Metlakatla, which faced the open sea, the city, or the town, to a road from Metlakatla all the way around to the inner seaway, which was protected by the island. A lot of people died trying to get to Ketchikan, just getting in the water and coming this way because it was extremely rough. And so this is what this was about. The Army was paying up. And
it's like going over the Horn of Africa.
It's extreme. That's what it's like up there. But anyhow, long story short, this guy was over the project, and when I first met him, you should have seen him, man. He was like 6'6", and he's just imposing. He used his size to impose on people. And so I show up one morning to do this accident investigation on a soldier one of our soldiers that got hurt up there. And this guy is like, walks up to me and he's just standing over me. And he's like, well, I don't think that's necessary for you to be here, and blah, blah, blah. And I says, well, I'm going to tell you right now, I have a CG, a commanding general, that would disagree with you. And I looked at him, I said, I promise you don't want him to come up here. And I says, and you're not going to intimidate him. And, oh, by the way, he's an international lawyer out of Washington, D.C. Pretty much knows his stuff. I says, you'd rather have me here doing my investigation, getting things right, than anybody else. Well, the 3rd time I went up there was with my command sergeant major. And he was 6'5", so there was no imposition here. They just faced off at each other. Right. And it's kind of fun to watch. because
Two giants.
yeah, he just didn't take any crap from anybody else. I mean, he's command sergeant major, you know.
Right.
You know, not gonna mess with that guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't intimidated at all, and got to meet a lot of folks. Gave some unit coins to a couple of people. We had the two corpsmen that saved this girl's life, this soldier's life. He gave coins to, and you know, all that stuff. Talked to the the med staff and all this. The way they would do work is they'd be working on the road. Here's all the workers. They'd have a corpsman station here and a corpsman station there.
Oh, okay.
But anyhow, long story short, that day, so we went from the base camp, went over the road, there was a road that went over the mountain and then caught the road where they were doing their work.
Sure.
So we're in you know what a cut knee is? It's basically the old Blazers and, you know, Broncos, the big size and stuff.
Right.
Man, we rode this. I'm sitting
Like
in the
crummies.
kind of, except they're just still two-door. And we went over this mountain, and I mean, I'm telling you, man, I'm sitting in the back, and I'm like, it threw me all over the place.
Isn't that something?
Crazy. But what happened was he hooked up with the sergeant major, not sergeant major, the first sergeant that was there over the groups that were there.
Yeah.
And boy, they had a talk.
Yeah.
And when we got, that's the last MREs I ever ate. You know, we stopped at a place and pulled them out. You know how they cook themselves and all that stuff. So we had MREs and everything. And then when it was time to go back, Sergeant Major looks at me and says, "Mr. Green, there's an LST waiting." That's how they brought crews over, was around the bend in one of those small LSTs. He says, "You mind taking that back?" He says, "He and I want to talk." I'm like, "Yep."
We're going to have a powwow.
Yeah, let the power talk. And he told me later, he said, "Man, I gave it to him, you know." And but they basically blamed that guy, the colonel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was an interesting trip. That one was.
I can imagine that.
I don't remember the guy's name, but we didn't have any place to stay in Ketchikan. We stayed at a fishing resort about 18 miles out of town. That was the only place that had a room for us. It was kind of cool. We got up for breakfast, having breakfast, and this couple of guys walked in. Of course, Sergeant Major's in his uniform. Gentleman walks right up to us. "Oh, what are you gentlemen doing?" Blah, 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 and all this stuff. He was a 4-star general, Air Force general. And I don't remember his name. But I'm like, wow, check that out. That was kind of cool.
Wow.
And the people that had the resort, Oregonians, they owned it.
Oh, yeah?
But it was height of fishing season. That's why we couldn't get anything.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I remember flying out of
I
there.
bet they didn't use shrimp for bait.
I remember flying out of there, and the plane is literally just loaded down with salmon and whatever halibut and all that other stuff that people caught fishing up there. So Ketchikan's where. Did you ever hear that term during the 2016 elections about the wasting? They're wasting money and everything. There's the bridge that goes nowhere up in Alaska. Did you ever hear about that?
I've heard of other places that have bridges like Germany and things like that.
Yeah, no, this is here, and the bridge that goes nowhere basically went somewhere. It was to the causeway, the inner causeway for go up the Alaskan coast and everything.
Okay.
And what it is when you go to Ketchikan, you fly in on the other side of the causeway, and you take a ferry over. And what they're wanting to do is get rid of the ferry and put a bridge over to the airport. Well, it was just something. Great idea. Just turned into a political issue.
Well, wouldn't that have been more efficient to have a bridge versus using the ferry?
I mean, yeah, we're talking about the ferry running about 200 yards.
Just build a walkway.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I can say that a couple of lasts for me up there. While I was up there, got to catch my last salmon, and
I've never caught a salmon.
we were at the fishing resort and everything, and I saw these guys. There was a creek with a waterfall next to it, and it was just loaded with sockeye, you know. And so I saw these guys fishing. I went down there. I said, "So, how do you catch them?" "Oh, we snag them."
Just pick them up with our hands.
I says,
Non-stick gloves.
I says, "You mind if I give it a try?" "Sure." So I drug in one. It looked like it'd already been beat to death and all this stuff. But what they're looking for is one that's not.
Right.
But like I said, I caught a salmon.
Well,
And then my other last was we were flying out of Juneau one night going to Ketchikan, and as we're taking off, and you remember Elizabeth, she was with me on one trip going up there, and it was this trip, and we take off, and I'm talking to her and everything, and all of a sudden, I hear this ka-thump, and Liz goes, "What do you think that is?" I says,
something ain't right.
I said, "That's a bird strike."
Oh.
I says, "I'm not sure what they sucked down, but it was pretty big."
Yeah.
And
Pelican.
and it was kind of like it was Alaskan Air's 737s.
Coffee, honeys?
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
please.
737 800s. They've got the big bypass valve, which can suck in a lot of stuff and blow it away, and it's not going to hurt the engine.
Oh, nice.
But the captain said, "Oh well, we just had a bird strike." It doesn't. I mean, we still have good power and everything, but we really can't take a chance, so we had to fly back in, get another plane. And by the time we got to Ketchikan, it was like 2 a.m.
Oh, man.
I was amazed the ferry was waiting, but I guess they do that from time to time.
I guess they're used to those variables, I'm sure.
And that's it. That's the other thing you learn in Alaska.
Yeah.
You're in Alaska, you're in Alaska time. If it doesn't come by airplane or boat or walk in on you, you're just gonna wait.
You ain't gonna drive your Beamer around.
Yeah.
You ain't going with the hood down.
Yeah. So what you gonna do? And like Ketchikan and Juneau, you can't drive into those towns.
Right. When's sunset? March. But it's November. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You stand there in Ketchikan, you look over, that mountain, right there's a mountain, and that's Canada. It's all Canada around you,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you definitely got to go through Canada to get to Alaska, for sure. Remember that time Diane and I guess what husband was it, number 14 or something? Mike were gonna go live in Alaska. They couldn't get through Canada.
why not?
I don't know, something about their credentials just wasn't gonna allow them to go through.
Oh, you're on a terrorist watch list?
Who knows?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, our sister was adventurous.
Sure as hell was.
Yeah, they had to turn around and come back. Canada's like, nah, you ain't going through. And it may have been something they were carrying too that they wouldn't allow it to cross the border.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who'd she live up there? Was it Gary? She lived up in Alaska?
At Haines, Alaska.
In Haines, yeah. Yeah. I remember her coming back down and she bought me a gift. And what it was, you remember the clackers? Well, this was kind of like clackers, but they were two Eskimo heads on strings. And I'm like, well, I can't clack that because they got the furry, softy stuff. So I can't clack these. What are you supposed to do with it? And she told me it was some Indian game or something like that. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
That's so uncool.
That's like Mary doing the Alaskan cruise with the kids and stuff. She comes back. And, I mean, I love you, Mary, but a pair of socks?
Oh, yay, you. Were they thermal?
Nope,
Battery
they were just.
operated or anything?
No, I think they had a couple of wolves on them, and I'm like, oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. So those and
I was
the
expecting-
squirrel shirt.
I was expecting gold and stuff, you know?
Well, Karen did that with her mom.
That's what Liz and I want to do. Is that Alaska cruise?
Yeah.
She'd never been.
I've never been to Alaska. Never had any desire to go up into that glacier.
Well, it all depends how you look at it. Where I was at,
Big glacier.
where I was at, Ketchikan looks like Oregon. Because where it's at,
Sits in a valley, doesn't it?
well, yeah, and I mean, it's modern. I mean, it's rainforest looking stuff. Oh yeah, sure they get snow, but everybody gets snow up in there. But
Rainforest or tundra?
no, well, there is some. I mean, it does have. It's not tundra right down there where they're at, but if you head on up into the hills and stuff, they have what's called muskak, and
Sounds like Sasquatch.
well, it's the ground, and the ground is frozen underneath it.
Permafrost.
Yeah, and so you have that up there, but down in the valley, and as far as where Ketchikan is everything. Like I said, they get snow, but it's not like what you're thinking at Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Wintertime, dark hole.
Isn't that more north?
Oh, yeah, way more.
Way more north?
Yeah, that's quite a play.
Yeah. Well, I guess, if it's a concentrated metropolis, then all the CO2 and carbon monoxide and everything kind of trap all the heat in.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's not quite that. Not Ketchikan. And you know what's weird? I'm having a great conversation saying Ketchikan because I can remember it. But I could be talking to somebody about, I went to Alaska and I cannot think.
You just threw her out of town, Juneau. Yeah, because they don't know anyway.
Well, that's true. I could just use anything, yeah. But I'm like, why can't I? That would be a town you'd think you'd never forget the name, but for some reason I do.
Ketchikan. Catch me if you can. I'll run bare ass naked up into the tundra.
I'll tell you, I remember talking to folks up there after I understood the layout. So what I do is I get up in the morning, drive down, and go to the naval station there. And then they had two boats that were ferrying people across it's not a bay, it's the causeway. But if you're here at the little naval station.
Now, did these ferries have the capability of transporting vehicles and things?
No, these were just boats.
Okay.
Those
Ocean boats.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, boats
okay.
and boats or whatever. But if you're here at Ketchikan, this is Annetta Island right here. So the causeway's here, and then you went around the island, you're looking at the ocean. So I get in the morning and then wait, get on the boat with the Navy guys, and then they haul us over.
Yeah.
And I remember my first day when I met Mr. Imposition. I'd gone up there by myself. I mean, I just heard 2 days ago 2 days before about the accident.
Yeah.
Called the general and told him, look, yeah, I'm going to, I explained what was going on. We had a soldier hurt up there, blah, blah, blah. And he says, what are you doing? I said, well, I already got tickets. Just good, get up there. So I get up there, I'm by myself. I had to go to a Army Reserve or National Guard, might have been National Guard. They had a little unit there in Ketchikan. And trying to connect with who to get over to the island was a little bit tough. It was almost like a mystery. But then I finally met a guy that, knew what was going on, and he got me all set up and everything. They're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm the safety director for the 88th Regional Readiness Command, and I'm here to do an investigation on one of my soldiers that got hurt a week ago.
Right.
Oh, okay. And so when I got over there, when the Navy pulled up and let me off, I'm the only guy. And they went, it's that way.
Here, you better take this walk. And
Do you have a 357? There's bears on this island.
You got snowshoes?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyhow, it was interesting what they were doing.
Yeah.
As far as and it was a purple program. Everybody was up there that are into the engineering stuff. Like the Air Force had their prime beef guys. Those are the guys that go in and build you runways and stuff like that. And then the CDs were there. Everybody was there because it was all reservists and National Guard. So, these guys, they show up for 2 weeks to do their thing, and they get to actually work on stuff. And that was the cool part of the whole thing.
Oh, okay. They didn't send them out to start building the road, did they?
No, they were building the road.
They were.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was mostly They had a few contractors that were working the excavators, but then you still had military, and the reason that's another thing. Here you're working like the group that my soldier got hurt was out of Ellsworth, Wisconsin, and it was a little bridge building. It was a bridge unit,
yeah,
but it was an engineering unit, and so they went up there to practice on excavators and caterpillars and.
Oh, I see.
All this stuff, and they had it, and they got to use it, and that's how this girl got hurt. But long story short, everybody was up there, and they had a big camp, to do their thing, garrison, if you want to call it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then from there, they catch the LST and go around and catch the road. And then, or you could go over the mountain like I did with my sergeant major. I'm like, oh my God.
In a crummy like car.
Oh, cut me. I bet you they probably just drove those. I don't know if it's done yet. It probably is by now. I'm sure it is. They probably took most of those pieces of equipment, just drove them out into the.
Took them on a ferry and pushed them off.
Yeah, because nobody's going to want those things. They're going to a trash heap.
Ain't even going to bother recycling it.
But talking to people, I got it figured out there, and I don't know, maybe they do have it. In Alaska, gambling's illegal. Okay, and the way that the Native American situation is set up there is, on the mainland, there are no reservations. Okay, they're villages.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
so they don't have a sovereign nation.
Well, they have villages, and I guess you could call them sovereign. I don't know exactly how far that works.
Okay.
Except for the Metlakatla Indians.
Okay.
That are on Annetta Island.
And that's because they entered into a covenant with the government to allow them to build this airstrip.
Right, that's how that worked.
Okay, sure.
And if you go into the history of that was the promise in World War II. And then after the war, things were still, cooking real good. There's a lot of cedar up there, so they're cutting a lot of cedar. All that was going. The fishing was great, so the fishing was good, and all this stuff. So they didn't need a road, right? They didn't want it.
Okay.
They didn't need it, And then what happened was, the fishing went bad, and then the lumber went bad, and
thanks that song.
Well, what next song? Actually, it was Canada. I remember Dad telling me, when we were in Oregon, when he was trying to tell these guys you can't do contracts every year. You're going to bid yourself right out of a job, which they did.
Yeah.
And he tried to warn them, but they didn't listen. But he used to. I remember him making a couple of times making a statement. He says, "There's more lumber in Canada than anywhere in the United States. We've used it up. They haven't." And where do you think a lot of lumber came from after that?
Canada.
But anyhow, what I thought was the best idea, and this is me being, me, because gambling's illegal, and there's no reservations of, sovereign land, except for Aneta Island, which is the Metlakatla Reservation.
I see where this is going.
They could put a casino with nice bright lights right across. You remember how I told you I'd take the boat over here to get on this, and then you go around Metlakatla Island. Okay. Well, the whole road was about to come around the corner, and then have a place where they could catch a ferry and go over to Ketchikan. Well, just imagine right there putting a giant casino, and when I realized, when I realized what the real money is in Ketchikan is the boats, the ships, the tourist ships. I realized, holy moly, if you had a casino with lights out there, and the ships stop for almost a whole day.
Yeah.
You can take tours and go driving or whatever you want to do. Just imagine a ferry waiting to take you over to the casino.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, they'd be the richest people on the planet.
Yeah. Straight shot.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if they ever what's ever happened up there, but I'm thinking that is perfect because they're a sovereign. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to ask Alaska.
There's going to be a very forward, visionary Indian that's going to say, this is probably for our survival.
They should talk to the Choctaw.
Yeah.
Come on up here and tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They'd be like, ah.
So any of the nations.
Yeah, anybody.
Because they all have a casino on them. That's why I want my 600 acres. So I can.
Here's to our 600 acres.
Yeah, that little swamp land that we'll never see. Oh well.
So, which reminds me, I sold 2 pieces of primitive Native American pottery. Okay, and when I say primitive, the stuff you see nowadays, people have put they've signed it and all this other stuff, and that's supposed to make it all, that's all tourist crap.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some beautiful pieces, don't get me wrong, but this is stuff that,
This was used.
Yeah, this was stuff.
It didn't sit and collect dirt.
And they weren't very big, so I don't know exactly what their purpose was, but certainly they were primitive.
Yeah.
And that's how I listed it. And I finally had a guy out of Burbank, California buy it.
Oh.
And they've been listed since last year.
Oh, wow.
But that's because I thought, what the heck, $95, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then I took Liz to the doctor the other day, and I'm sitting in the waiting room waiting for her to come back. And I'm looking at my account, my eBay account. I'm like, oh, God dang it. I had a fire sale right there right there, man. I was selling,
How many watchers did you have?
On that?
On those pieces.
That one, okay. That one, I didn't have anybody look at it. Okay?
Okay.
That wasn't part of the mix here. This was all kinds of stuff that people they're watching, and you can make offers to them.
Yeah, sure.
Man, I was blowing offers 50% off, 55%. Just get this stuff out of here.
Right.
And this is how much stuff I had. By the time I got home, I was looking at about $250 worth of stuff sold. People like, yeah, that's my price.
Yeah.
He finally gave it up. That's what they do.
No.
They'll watch it just to see if you bring it down and stuff like that. I did.
Who has the patience?
And I cleaned house because I'm like, I've had enough of that.
Get this crap out of my shed.
But this guy was with this this pottery. He didn't bid on it. He sent me a message about it, you know, and he says, I collect primitive, and he says, these are interesting pieces. And I'm like, yeah, you know, you're the kind of guy I'm looking for. And but he got to tell me this Choctaw, and I told him about us. You know, I says, well, I belong to an unrecognized tribe, the Kusanai, and so he come back. He says. I told him, I said, just make me an offer on it, you know. Well, I don't want to hurt your feelings, or, you know, that. I'm like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I want to get rid of it because I only paid $1 for it, you know.
And it's sitting here collecting dirt.
So I sold it to him for $35, and he was just over the moon. I mean, matter of fact, he kept messaging me, you know, and I'm like, finally, okay, I've heard enough. Yeah, you're Native American, I'm Son. You know, and that's good enough, you know. And you live in California.
Not enough for a casino, but
yeah. I don't own enough for a casino. But
and you was in Burbank?
Yeah, I lived in Burbank, but you know, he said my family is all in Arkansas and Oklahoma. I'm like, duh. That's where they're at.
Yeah. Oh, well, I got a couple things coming up. I went to my cardiologist last week. They did a nuclear imaging.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, we got a little blockage going on up there. He
Really?
said, yeah, I'll throw another stent in there. Anyway, the kid that was doing the imaging, he says, how many stents you got? I said, 7. He says, oh, that's a low number. I said, pardon me? He says, yeah, we got people that got 50.
Really?
50. I said, that's nothing but a walking stent. He says, I know, right? Do what you do.
I didn't realize that there were that many.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know there's lots of vessels and stuff like that, but
50 stents. He says, yeah. He said, not 7? Ain't nothing. Those are rookie numbers. Right.
Well, get out of here. I'm working on real sick people.
Yeah, real sick people. So, he looked at the report and he says, yeah, we got a little blockage going on somewhere in here. He said, we'll put another stent in there. I said, okay. I said, but if it costs me a lot of money because my insurance is a joke, I said, you'll get $10 a week or something like that for those in your life. Anyway, so I got that, and then this is coming up Friday, and that'll be next Friday in Hot Springs. But this coming up, I got a colonoscopy coming up. It's been over 10 years.
Yeah, I got to schedule mine, but Liz has got one coming up, so I said, let's get yours done, and then I'll let them shove it up me now. Now, I don't know how you are, but I've always been, don't give me the drugs, I just want to watch.
No. Just let me be in the recovery room. That's all I want to remember.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to do this time. I don't care what I say to them.
Well, you told me the last time you had one, you stayed awake and watched the video.
Yeah, and I also found out that very few doctors allow that.
Yeah.
This guy did, though.
And that was in Texarkana?
Yeah. And he said, now, we're going to get up to that bend point. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. It was, but it was almost like you had cramps in your stomach.
Right here.
Yeah. And
are you in my uterus yet?
But I decided to forget it. Just put me out. Tell me later.
Yeah. Show me the bottle if you got any polyps, and then throw it away. I don't care.
So you're going in for it.
Yeah. So I got that coming up this Friday. So I'll take care of it. And I'm just having it done here at the
So
airplane hub.
I was talking to Tia last night, and we kind of got on that subject about colonoscopy. Yesterday was Father's Day. Liz let me do my thing, and she's feeling a little under the weather, which okay. But so for Father's Day, she let me eat Chinese food.
Good for you.
Yeah. And I was telling Tia about that, and we were talking about her man now, Jim. He loves Chinese food, so do I. and I like all Asian food, to be honest with you. But I was telling him, I says, yeah, I says, Chinese food, man. When I go get my colonostomy, that's how I like to fill my colon back up. And they both, oh, gross.
Noodles and MSG. Oh yeah.
T
With a little soy sauce.
is going in for one pretty soon too, right? So,
You know what's so funny too? When we were leaving Toth's office clinic, and it has two women at the front desk, and this one, it was right about lunchtime, and this one's husband came in, and they were eating across the table, and I inquired with them. I said, my brother tells me that there's a really good Vietnamese restaurant up here. I said, we're not going today, but you know, yeah, I mean, I get what, and it was called
the Pho House.
yeah, and that's what they said. And they're just like, yeah, whatever. And I looked at them and I said, yeah, you people are pulled pork and brisket kind of people, ain't you? And the guy goes, yeah. We don't want that Vietnamese food. Give me the pulled pork.
Yeah, you guys go ahead and stay in No-No land.
It just cracked me up.
They're not Anthony Bourdain watchers.
No, apparently not. No. So yeah, I got those things coming up. And what else do I got going on? Well, got that dadgum serpentine belt. Then I have to. I told Mark, I said, at Bible study, I told him, I said, yeah, I'm gonna, because I went down to show him. I said, you got to see this clutch. It's just mangled mess, you know. And that's when he told me. He says, that happened because that compressor seized up, and the engine's trying to pull that belt around,
Right.
and it just melted it. Anyway, I told him, I said, yeah, well, when I get the new belt, I'm going to bribe you to help me put it on. He says, did I charge you anything last time we worked on this thing? I said, no, but buy you pizza or something while he's watching his diet.
Yeah. I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, and
He was sitting there, and I saw Nova, and I get to talking. He goes, "Oh, I thought that was. I recognize you." And I'm like, "Mark."
Yeah. He went through a rough spell for sure.
I was telling Liz this is what he told me about doing steroids and then not telling her about stay out of the sun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, it's like giving yourself lupus during that regimen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, but I told him, I said, look, I explained about the tractor and everything. I said, you come out when you feel like coming out, don't. I'm in no rush. I'm keeping the jungle back. As long as I can mow the lawn, I can do it. But rest of it, who cares? Plus,
well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, plus the neighbor, he just cut my field, so that's nice and cut. So.
Is he bailing it?
Oh yeah, he got 6 bales off that little section in the front there.
Yeah. Nice. I bought myself a bread maker. And when I was on Amazon, because I was doing research, I don't know anything about bread makers, so I need to bone up, right? Well, I wound up buying this Cuisinart.
Cuisinart.
Yeah. Cuisinart. Anyway, so I go to Amazon. I said, okay, there it is. It's like $100 and some dollars. But they had down here, they had one that was, needs a home. Yes, please. Needs a home kind of bread maker.
Bit and damaged.
Yeah. Well, I get it. And it was like $77.
Yeah.
Okay. I get that thing. It's in 3 boxes. There's the outer box, and there's a sticker on it from Amazon Warehouse says, "Thank you for giving this a home," kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's cute. So I take the box out of that box, and then I cut it and open it up, and there's another box, and I break that, and that's the marketing box. Yeah, I break that, and I pull this thing out, and the whole side of it, this is it. This whole side is just caved in. And I'm like, did somebody just kick this down the warehouse? Is that what it is? But I told Karen, I said, if it does what it needs to do. I don't care what it looks like.
Exactly.
You know, when I made my first loaf of bread, I went up to the Natural Shack, you know, up there, RJ's DJ, and was talking to her, which I have another story about that. I was talking to her. I think her name's Judy or something like that.
Tall girl?
The old woman, the owner. Her husband is DJ, the equipment.
Oh. I know her. Can't think of her last name.
Well, anyway, so I made my first loaf of bread, just wheat bread, you know, and I bought some flax seeds, so I put some flax seeds. It was a brick.
Yeah.
It was dense. I'm like, okay, so how do I make this a little more fluffier? Well, it's all about it rising.
Uh-huh.
Well, this goes through 3 stages of knead and rising.
Yep.
And then there's a stopping point where you can add stuff. It will say add in. And then there's a stopping point that says, okay, if you want to pull the kneading paddle out before I cook it, now's the time. I missed that one.
Yeah, it don't matter. Always leave it.
I dug it out when I was done.
Yeah.
It was like volcanic hot, but I dug it out. Where's my pliers? I'll pull it. Anyway, so it's all about the rising and the gas building up inside,
right?
The fluffiness. So I decided the next time I'm gonna make some today. I decided this time before it starts to cook, I'm gonna do 2 things. 1, I'm gonna take the paddle out, and 2, I'm just gonna let it set out and do more rising and see if it will get it'll cook and be a little more fluffier. I'm learning this. I don't know anything about it.
I found just a basic white bread recipe and really practiced on a lot of that. A lot of it's to do with the yeast, how much yeast.
I did and that's the other thing. I didn't buy sugar. I bought a sugar alternative at the Nature Shack. I can't even remember. It starts with an X or something like that. It's something.
Yeah, all good supplements that start with X.
It's got to be good.
Experiment.
And it was, you know, the yeast is real fresh yeast.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, just keep practicing at it. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got one we've had for years, and I've actually it's got a mode where it just makes up the dough, and then you can
set it out,
and let it rise separately. I've done that before, but normally I just I'll take this basic white bread mix and add stuff to it, like flax. Whatever, pecans or whatever, and let it do its thing. But it's going to be a little dense.
Well, I'm okay with a little density to it.
Yeah.
You know, but when I need to ask myself, do I need to go get an electric knife to cut through this thing?
That's dense.
Yeah, it's pretty dense.
Well, the dogs appreciate it,
and the dogs love it. You know, because I'll break off a chunk, give it to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, baby." That's a learning curve.
Bread, yeah. No, I'm glad you're at that. Doing it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about the world ending and all this stuff, and don't really give a shit. But I went to an auction.
You'll be dead by then.
Yeah. Went to an auction Saturday, and these people had stacks and stacks and stacks of survival food.
Oh, really?
And I mean canned goods and stuff like this, and I'm like, I guess the end was coming. They didn't get to use it.
Must have been 1999 when they bought this stuff.
No, it looked pretty new. I mean, the cans were in good shape. I thought about maybe buying a couple because it's canned goods. A lot of corn. They had a lot of corn.
Corn's not easily digestible.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can mash it up and make whiskey with it if you had to.
Well,
But that was kind of interesting to do.
I always see these advertisements, the survival kit that comes in a tub and it's,
Oh yeah.
20 years, and I'm like,
Well, I have to admit, I got into that little conspiracy stuff a little while. Actually started considering, what can I do, and then finally realized that, I'm this old. I'll just get my shots off and take it. Just take it, whatever. And now, like I tell Liz, I says, whatever happens, I've got, good knees now, and I can walk out with dignity to the killing fields.
but just make sure that they got it mowed and baled.
Yeah. Don't.
I don't want to be hurting,
I don't want to fall over. That looks
moving
stupid.
the chiggers out of the way.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got into that a couple times. Well, I did it during the millennium. I stocked up and watching the market. I guess it was a year or so ago, and had the girls just buy an extra can of something.
Yeah.
When you go grocery, just buy an extra can of something.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Ambidextrous.
Wow.
Sweet.
Amazing.
Um,
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing a little bit there.
Yeah.
But I bought like 2 10-pound bags of rice, and just had them up there, Now I'm finally finishing them off.
but you didn't have to buy rice for a while.
No. See, that was
There you go. That was part of the
I didn't
plan.
lose.
Yeah.
I didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
So, you got to see my garden. It just is in a mess, and I'm not going to do anything with it. A matter of fact, because you can't.
That big.
I can't, because you can't buy tomato plants in a 4-pack. You got to buy them in a 6-pack. I just wanted 4 tomato plants, and so I ended up with 6. So, I've got tomatoes, okay,
Yeah.
but I was telling Liz, I says, and I set up the beds so that I could, have the tomatoes separated and blah, 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 keep it clean and everything. Not being able to get out there for about a month. Jungle took over. And I looked at the tomato plants and says, well, that's how Dad used to do it. He used to get plenty of tomatoes.
Got plenty.
Yeah. So, I will not grow stuff just to say I grew it. I'm just not going to do that. People do that, man. They raise a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, well, what are you going to do with it? Well, throw it out back and whatever, because there's too much.
Yeah.
So,
Well, see, that's what Dad used to do. I mean, he would grow so much dead gum, but he'd use it for barter.
well, then that's fine.
And, and give to those who needed it, and that's fine. But, yeah, go out there and till that 40 acres and pull it for me.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't want to.
No, that's not.
That was your era, Dad. Not
Yeah.
mine.
Well, no. What? Here's my thing. I know how to do it.
Right.
So it's up to me if I want to do it. I'm not trying to. I don't want to prove anything to anybody because it's just I planned 3 things: tomatoes, cucumbers, and squash.
Yeah.
And I've thrown all the squash away that I've grown because I let it get too big.
Right.
And I started going through the cucumbers, which is overgrown badly. And I'm pulling out, things this big, throwing them out in the yard. It's like,
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, yeah, I like that month not being able to do anything, kind of took care of it because I had it all set up before, but couldn't get out to it.
Right.
But now I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to take whatever it gives me, and I'm okay. I mean, it's already paid for itself in tomatoes alone.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not worried about that.
I'm struggling. I got one cucumber plant. It's got blossoms on it. I've got one type of tomato, and then at the farmer's market I bought these 4 tomato plants, and it's just all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, and I go in and I prune it,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. But I look in the back of it and I videoed this. One tomato, that big. Not that big.
You need to add some calcium
Calcium.
to the dirt. Yeah.
And then the radishes, I had radishes.
Or lime.
They just rotted in the dirt.
Is that right? Your radishes? Yeah. Yeah, I've tried to grow radishes a couple times. They come up and you got to thin them.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, this is what I've come to the conclusion. If I want radishes, I'll buy some from Walmart. Okay, there's a whole bunch of good people that harvested that stuff. So,
Right.
You know, and again, it's like I can do that. I could raise them, but I don't want to.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm the laziest gardener you ever met.
And the fact is, until I can't get it at the store,
Yeah.
then
But,
you know I've got these seeds in the back that I can.
And then I can kick in my skills.
Yeah.
Okay? But I'm not interested in it right now.
You don't need to see that mystery now.
Nah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but no, I have just come up with the point that I'm retired. I'm not interested in a lot of things. I'll never forget David, and I know he's probably not going to remember this, but okay, here's this highly educated person, and I'm talking to him, school teacher, all that stuff, and I was talking to him one time. I said, so what kind of books do you read to edify yourself, learn and stuff like that? I don't do any of that. I don't need to learn anything. At that time, I'm looking at the dichotomy of this whole thing, and then I go, now I'm this age, and I'm like, oh, I get it.
Ain't got time for that.
Yeah, I don't want to learn anything anymore.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
I mean, I don't like buying stuff and having it be any kind of complicated. Even though all I have to do is read it and get it, I just don't want to do it.
It's like the bread maker. You know, what is going to do itself? And that was it. I'm like, let me put the junk in, turn it on. Okay. And I'm over there, you know, at my little nest. And I've got headphones on, because I listen to everything on headphones. But I've got it sitting on the freezer. And I'm going, where's it at? What stage is it at? So I'll stop, because I can't hear anything. And I'll go look at it, and I go, oh, okay. Yeah. That's my kind of bread making.
Yeah.
Throw the crap in there and let it cook.
I miss good bagels, good bread.
Yeah.
You know, Super One over in Texarkana,
Oh, okay.
they have a pretty good bread section.
Did it?
Yeah, they make up some interesting breads, artisan bread.
Well, see, I want bread that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, or virtually no sugar in it. I don't want any seed oils in it. I don't want a long list of Dow chemicals in it. You know, I just want bread. And the preservatives they put in it, that's what surprised me the biggest is, it was like 3 years ago, I had a loaf of bread sitting out on the counter, and, you know, the week before, you know, it got moldy. And no, this stuff didn't get moldy, man. This stuff has a shelf life of 1,000,000 years. And I'm like, what are they putting in this crap?
Yeah, preservatives. When I went to Australia, that's one of the things we all had to learn is you buy a loaf of bread over there, you better have it eaten within the week.
Yeah.
Because they put nothing in there to preserve it. And I mean, I still have some hot dog buns. I open it up, it still smells good. And they've been there for a month.
Yeah. And I'm like, what kind of dark magic cauldron are they stirring this crap in?
Oh, yeah. That reminds me, since the surgery, I have a low tolerance for any kind of meats with nitrates in it, like bacon and
Yeah.
hot dogs or anything like that. I don't know what the deal is, and I'm really I have a sensitivity to just salt itself.
Yeah, see, I'm real sensitive. I'm real sensitive to salt. I don't eat a lot of salt. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that can't be a bad thing, especially the nitrates.
There's enough sodium and salts in the stuff that's processed anyway that you're getting way over your recommended daily allowance. Because it's addicting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And sugars. Yeah. I'm just trying to
I have
be
to
more cognizant about that.
No, that's okay. Really, the thing you should be watching for, what I watch for, is fructose and all that stuff. So I went to the farmer's market the other day, and I'm in search of people that make their own jellies.
Yeah.
So at least I know they're using sugar,
Yeah.
and not using it. So that's one of the things I do. Also, went there, and I don't know if it's too early or what, but we always went there because there's a guy out of near Hope that raises tomatoes. Oh my gosh, his tomatoes are amazing.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't there? That kind of scared me. Because I'm telling you, people caught on pretty quick on that.
Yeah.
He'd have his tomatoes sold, let's see, they opened at, was it 8 o'clock? He'd have his tomatoes basically all sold by 9:30.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd go in there and buy, 2 pounds of them, or 3 pounds, just get a bag of them. And other people standing right behind me, buying up all their tomatoes.
Oh.
So, yeah.
We're good. Thank you.
So he wasn't there. That kind of bothered me.
Well, maybe he's on an Alaskan cruise.
Yeah. A guy like that, as many tomatoes he raised, I wouldn't doubt somebody didn't come in and just, I'll buy all your tomatoes. Take them to market someplace.
Yeah.
Put them in a store or whatever.
Oh, I would hope that's not the case.
These are great tomatoes.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's how we started everything. He'd have tomatoes before I had tomatoes.
Did he greenhouse them?
No.
Surely not.
No. It was.
He just babied them.
He just knew what he was doing. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So I hope that was just a one-off. Hope they're there next week because I want his tomatoes.
Well, I
got tomatoes, but I want his tomatoes.
I was at Cheney's office. I was waiting to see if he had to do a diabetic eye exam. And I was reading the paper, and it was talking about what was going to be at the farmer's market. And I go, yeah. Because I'm thinking about going to the farmer's market. And I participated in the farmer's market.
Yeah.
But I thought, I don't see anything that I want to get there. Because they highlight, this is what's going to be.
Yeah. And it's almost 50-50 of stuff and then produce.
Yeah.
Which, okay, open it up. Let people, sell their wares. That's the way it should be. But,
farmer's market is not exclusive to
yeah, no, I know.
Produce and fruits.
I remember we went one time to the farmer's market in Minneapolis there. It's all underneath these bridges.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking up there and I'm thinking, okay, what in the world can these northerners, their gardens are limited.
Yeah.
What are they going to sell? That's not how they work. You saw produce trucks from, companies and stuff.
Oh, okay. That's not fair.
Yeah, no, but, people ate it up. And I'm sure, just the ambiance of being at a market like that. That's what I think the Europeans and the other countries have over us is those markets. I love those.
Yeah.
I love those. If I lived near a market like that, I'd get whatever I want fresh and every day.
Exactly, and that's what they had in Salem. In Salem, right there they just had the big parking lot, one of the big parking lots. Everybody would set up, and it was mostly. I mean, you had the artisans, doing their trade craft. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Man, that's where you got your fresh produce and stuff. And, oh, that was great. That was a good farmers market.
Yeah, well, that's Oregon. Fantastic fruits, fantastic vegetables, fantastic everything.
Oh, God.
I just think about those little Dillard watermelons. They were only about that big.
Yeah.
Just over the top, flavorful. And their cantaloupes, you can't touch them.
I bought a cantaloupe the other day, and it was pretty good. I was surprised.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, this is the time of year you're going to find some good ones. Even those seedless watermelons have a little bit of good flavor to it. I told Liz we were going to buy a Hope watermelon this year,
Yeah.
and
Gonna get yellow mated?
no, I'm just going to go ahead and get a red one. But those are they raise black diamonds, right? Normally,
I think so.
with the seeds about that big.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I told her, I said, I'm going to watermelon this year. I want a Hope watermelon.
Well, there's a fellow that brings them over here to Nashville, and right there by the glass shop.
Yeah.
Glass shop over
Yeah.
here. Set up shop there. What's your plans today? What you got going on?
Liz is going to make me work on the pool some more. I have to buy a head for my cleaner. This will be the second one. It works intermittent. It works good when it's working. So I'm going to have to buy another one. Those run about $2.89.
You get that at the whole pool place?
Oh, hell no. I get it on Amazon.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Or eBay, whatever I can find. Because
I really like to get Karen's jacuzzi working. It keeps tripping the EFI. And I'm not sure.
the GFI?
Or GFI, sorry. Not GFI.
Now, is it plugged into a GFI?
Yeah, the cord has a GFI
Oh, that.
on the end of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just 110.
I was just gonna. I used to save those off of like a sprayer or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd save the cord with that.
Yeah.
I wonder if I have one.
Well, and I want to know why it's tripping it. What's tripping it? Is it?
Well, the problem with GFI is they get weak.
Yeah.
And that could go one of two ways. It could either not ever kick off, and that could be bad,
That's not good.
or it just kicks off real easy. But if there's a short to ground, then that's gonna kick off every time.
Right. And that's what I'm concerned about, because if there's it's got one pump motor in it, and the thing is you can add another pump motor to it and make it a 220. Just run it in series.
Yeah.
It's got one motor in it, and I don't know why, but Karen kept saying, yeah, it just would trip off. And I hate it that she can't use it, because she really loves that little jacuzzi, but can't do anything with it. And I'm thinking, I don't know how to test. I don't know how to test to see if it's a ground issue or what. I mean,
Well, I'll tell you one way you can possibly do it is go in, disconnect that wire, and then take an extension cord and hook it up to it, and then plug it into another GFCI. And if it pops that, then you got a short ground.
yeah.
I mean, it's a little work, but plus there's equipment to test that too.
Yeah, I think I need to get Fred involved on that one.
Yeah, I saw the boys at the Chinese restaurant 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, he said that he ran into you.
Yeah, They were having their antics. That was kind of fun to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. That was with Marvin. Wasn't with them, was he?
Mm-hmm.
Was Marvin with them? Virginia and Cameron.
Yeah, and Cameron. Yeah.
That Cameron,
He's a go-getter.
He is.
He really is. I mean, he's not sitting down and crying. He's working.
He's a good kid.
He's doing it.
I call him kid, but you know.
Kid.
He is. Out of all those kids in Nova, he's the one that took care of stuff.
And a handsome fella too. I don't know why they don't. Why he's not like wiping them off at me.
Well, he's got a girlfriend. He's got a girlfriend.
Oh, he does. Oh, okay, cool.
He's got a girlfriend that has a little daughter. I think a little daughter. Just a little daughter. Yeah, just a little daughter. She's a Hispanic girl. Oh, Hispanic girl. Sweet as can be. But, and the little daughter, she's not that. Just, how you just dress up these little kids, the boys and the girls.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like little dolls. Beautiful. Anyway, yeah, he's got a girlfriend. And then you got Virginia. Bless her heart.
Kevin Costner's on TV though. Kevin Costner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I knew a guy that literally kicked him off his property in South Dakota.
Was he trying to dance with the wolves?
Well, when they were doing the movie, of course they're renting and leasing property everywhere for our housing for all the crews and everybody,
Right.
Well, in Hill City, this guy named Denny Smith, he worked with me, had been the mayor of Hill City at one time. If you go behind the town, the road runs through here. Behind town is some gulches that go up, up the hills and stuff. He lived up this one gulch. His house was the first house as you drive up the gulch, and then there was this really nice log house that was up from him about 400 yards, and then there was some more houses on up the gulch and stuff. Well, Costner came through and he leased that log house, and then when they were done, and so the reason he kicked. Costner actually came to his house because he had already told people, we're not interested in leasing our house out, to you. He literally came with someone else, and then he told him to get off my property.
Costner tried to coerce this guy into
impose, on him. And Denny was not the imposing type. It was kind of fun. The reason I got to know all this is I was still working for the Air Force, this Rivet Mile program for the missiles, and Denny and I got tasked to go to South Dakota, which he loved it because his wife's down there. He's up in North Dakota working.
Oh, I got you.
And they're still down at this place, and so we went down there because they had shut the missile wing down at Ellsworth. They had Minuteman II missiles, so they were obsolete, and but there was all kinds of parts and stuff on each site that were unique.
Yeah.
And that's what we were doing, was cannibalizing these items, and getting them. We'd take them to Ellsworth, to their supply point, and they would take them in, and then what they did was they would do all the inspections on all this. Then they'd put it back into the system, the supply system, for the other bases.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
The biggie thing that we were getting were these bolts. They were like, the heads were about that big. I forgot how big. They were like 6 inch or 5 inch or something like that. Big bolts. They were about this tall, and they're, the stem is about that big around, and they were fine thread. Okay. And what they were is that's what held these pylons down. That when you're putting the missile motors in, the first 3 motors on the stack.
Yeah.
They had this piece of equipment called a transporter erector, and they'd bring those out, the 3 motors together, and then this transporter erector would attach to these pylons, and then it would raise it up, and then lower those into the silo.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, those bolts were Boeing had them made at a foundry somewhere, so they weren't making any more of those, and so that was one of the items that we were. There were 12 on each side, and we would take 11 of them, or not 11. We'd take 10 of them, and just leave 1 bolt in each pylon, so you just hold it there.
So the wind won't blow it over.
Yeah, no, that wasn't going to happen. Those pylons are solid metal, But so that was one of the items that we were going to do, and so it's kind of fun getting to know Hill City and stuff like that. We were staying at the base I was. Denny stayed home.
Yeah, he went home.
Yeah, but so I had the family come down.
Oh, okay.
And they stayed at Hill City for a weekend, and got to meet Denny and the family and all this stuff. That's where, if you ever get a chance to go to Hill City, and I don't know if the place is still there, but he says you got to eat at the Alpine Inn in Hill City. And I says, okay. So Liz and I went out to eat. Kids stayed at the hotel. And Liz and I went out to eat.
Did you sell pizza?
Yeah. I think we did get our pizza. So we went out, and big line of people, had to wait. And it's, so we sat out on the terrace or whatever it was, and had a couple of wines. They brought them in the bottles. Little bottles. Yeah, we drank some wine out there. And then we got called in, we went in. And on the menu at the Alpine Inn, there's only 2 items. It's a 6 or 9 ounce filet mignon.
Oh.
That's it.
Oh.
6 or 9 ounce filet. And it came with a wedge of lettuce, and I forgot something else. I don't remember what it was. And then bread. Okay. So, of course, I had a 9, she had a 6. It was like cutting through butter. It's just amazing how good this was. I mean, you thought it was Wagyu beef,
Yeah.
And so we had that. I had a 9, she had a 6. And then we ordered just a tart, a raspberry tart between us, and had that for dessert. And at that time, we walked out of there, it was a $20 bill. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. No wonder people rush up here from Rapid City.
Good days.
Yeah.
Good time.
A $20 bill.
Jeez.
So, but
yeah, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying it was kind of, the kids had a great time too. They enjoyed being up there, but they were teenagers, so they wanted to get home. So
Carrie and I had our anniversary Saturday. So we decided we would go to Cousins Feed Bin there in Murfreesboro, have supper.
Cousins.
Yeah, Western.
The feed bin belongs to our cousins?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, I did a bad Google thing on that.
Well.
Are they still serving Creole or Cajun food? Is that their thing? Still?
I didn't see it on that menu.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they must have changed their menu up.
Well, we go in there, and of course, they have an espresso machine, and it was broke. So, the little girl takes us to a table, and we sit down, and I said, well, just let me have a cup of your house coffee. And it was delicious, don't get me wrong.
Nice.
But we both ordered the same thing. It was a chicken Alfredo dish. And I ordered appetizers. I know Karen doesn't like mushroom, so I ordered fried mushroom.
Well, there you go.
More than me. And the little girl comes back, well, do you want to order dessert? And I'm like, we haven't even got the appetizer yet. But, okay, yeah, what do you got? She starts rambling them off, and then she forgot, and then she went and got a menu. And we'll have that slice of that strawberry cake, something, whatever. Anyway, so she brings out our entree. And I said, could I get the appetizer that I ordered? And then some other gal later on came, and I was halfway done with my meal, brought out these mushrooms. And I said, well, I'm going to eat. Well, I'm going to eat them. And then she brought out that piece of cake, but I'm like, this whole order is wrong. And then I have this guy sitting, I guess they have a little bar in the back. We were in the back area. As you come in, go left.
Yeah.
I have a little bar there, liquor bar. And he's just eagle-eyeing us because he wanted to clear our top, and someone else to come sit. I'm like, I think I'm going to sit here for the next 2.5 hours. What do you think of that?
That's how you do it.
Yeah, I finally told Karen, I said, all right, come on, let's get out of here so they can talk, clear this talk.
Liz and I went over there when they were fairly new open, okay? And so they were, they had these different, Cajun items or Creole. There's a difference between the two, I know. But, so I forgot what I ordered. I know what I ordered. I ordered they had a jambalaya thing. And I'm always going to go for the soup or whatever. And so I, ordered this. And, it wasn't bad. The service wasn't bad and everything. The only problem is this is the only hot sauce that they have. And I wanted this hot sauce. And I'm thinking to myself, how can you have a place without Tabasco sauce? Ever.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we don't do Tabasco. Really?
Really? Run across the street over there to the little general store and get some.
And so I didn't do it on Yelp, but I did it on Google or whatever. I'm like, how can you have a place with that kind of ethnic food without Tabasco sauce? I just put it in there. If I go, I'll bring my own bottle, I guess.
It says Louisiana.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't try to down them completely, but I'm just like, all right. I'm not saying I'm Anthony Bourdain, but that part of it got that straight.
I didn't see any. They had put a new menu out. So
They must have. That happens.
Yeah.
We when we lived in Texas, we'd make somebody come to visit, like the kids or whatever, and take a trip down to the Gulf and then drive back up through San Antonio and stop at the Hemisphere to eat at that restaurant up on the tower or whatever it's called, the Hemisphere Tower or whatever.
Right.
And they used to have an incredible menu. And there was one thing on the menu that I'd always order, and it was called pecan trout.
Oh, yeah.
It's where they take trout and debone it, and then they flatten it out, and then they fry it in butter with pecans. Mm-hmm. And then they had a sweetened hollandaise sauce kind of thing. I don't know what kind it was. It's my best. Oh my God, it was amazing. And the whole menu was amazing.
Yeah.
And the last time we went there, Jeremy had come down to visit, and we did the thing again. And we come up, I says, okay, you got to go up here and give this a try. And we got, at the base there's a menu, you can read it before you get on. And I'm looking at the menu, and none of that stuff was there. It was just a basic steakhouse menu. So, and so we got on the elevator to go up, and I was talking to the operator, and I said, so what's happening around here? I said, you used to have a phenomenal menu here. The lady goes, yeah, we know. another company bought it and they just turned it into a steakhouse. And I'm like, that's exactly the feeling I got.
Flipping tops.
Yep. And we got up to the top, did the walk around. San Antonio. And I said, sorry, Jeremy, we'll go eat at Burger King or something. I says, if I wanted steak, that's, get that anywhere. But
you're in Texas, for crying out loud.
Yeah. But no, that was a unique place to go.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. I've had pecan salmon. Had it.
Yeah.
Pecan salmon.
Yeah.
At what was that? It was a restaurant in Salem. And it was a hollandaise sauce. And it was just absolutely, it was the bomb, man.
Delish.
Yeah. You don't get that stuff anymore.
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's when you've been treated to that kind of stuff, it does bring back memories.
Yeah. And if you ever run across it, of course you're going to do a comparison. Okay, yeah, we got to try it.
Yeah.
No, that's.
But even Nashville. Is that our boy? That's our boy, isn't it? Or is he still driving bread truck?
He drives bread truck. That's not. I don't think that's bread, is it? Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
But I give Nashville credit. Olden's over here makes the best menudo I've ever had in a restaurant.
Yeah.
I've had good menudo, and so we're lucky to have that. I know it's a buffet restaurant, but their food's not that bad. A Chinese restaurant, like I said, it'll fill my colon back up when I'm ready. But
Hey, you always got to have a good colon blow place to go to.
Yeah.
No. I like the little Chinese restaurants.
Yeah.
It's dated, but food's fine.
Well, if you do find yourself in Hot Springs, that pho house, just go in and order chicken pho. And, they'll bring you out this big tub that you could never eat. And it really is good. I don't know what all the secrets is to their broth, but it definitely has 5 spice in it.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're going to get that anise taste a little bit. But I just love it with the noodles and stuff.
Well, like I said, there was one Vietnamese restaurant in Salem that was just absolutely fantastic. India restaurant was just wonderful. Thai and Kaiser was just absolutely splendid. And that's what I miss. Is all those cultural foods that were authentic.
Yeah.
Not Cisco truck stuff.
So you remember the guy I told you about? I met at an auction that had that glass arrowhead.
Yes.
Okay, I got a little more information. I hadn't seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but been going to these auctions. Liz got to meet this lady, the last one that she went with me to. Ladies always has perfect white hair and slender build, and I'd say she's probably in her early 70s. Well, I'm sure she is. She used to be a ballerina dancer.
Yeah.
And lived in Albuquerque and worked a troupe there and all this stuff. Well, this guy that I was telling you about got me all fired up about Poison Springs and stuff. That's her husband. Because what happened was I parked at this auction inside a house, right? So I parked behind this truck, and I noticed on the little tag there, Vietnam veteran. And she comes walking by, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she gets into that truck to get something and comes out. I'm like, are you a Vietnam veteran? She goes, no, my husband is. I'm like, oh, okay. And we get to talking. Later, about it, and so I asked her about this guy, and she goes, "Oh, that's my husband."
How thrilled is that?
Yeah, but here's the kicker: they don't live together. They're married, but they don't live together. She's got a house. She told me where it was at. I forgot. I'll take about a half cup.
I'm good.
I think I got about a half cup of talking left.
Okay.
And that's perfect.
There you go, honey.
And so I says, so you don't live together? She says, no. She goes, he's got a place in Bowles, outside of Bowles.
Oh, okay.
And she says, he's like Yule Gibbons. He's a naturalist. He lives off the land. He goes down to the creek, catches crawfish and catches fish and eats them. And he's this kind of guy that can, how's that song go? A country boy can survive.
Yeah.
Hank Williams Jr. He's that kind of guy. Well, if you think about it, he told me he was Delta in Vietnam. Yeah, he knows how to live off the land.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, he got that part right. But that's his thing. She says that is his thing. Cuts his own wood. He's basically trying to live zero net.
Right.
And which she can't live that way.
She's like, I gotta have my doilies. Padded toilet seat. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I want that water to be hot when it comes out. But they, it's just interesting. I got to find out more about this
Hell of an
relationship.
arrangement.
Because I told her, I said, man, I really miss him, man. He absolutely just dazzled me, especially with that arrow hair, And she says, oh yeah, well he'll wear it again, I'm like, I told her, I says, look, I took a picture of that thing, and I don't know when I somehow deleted it, and I said I want my brothers to see it,
Right.
and so I'm gonna, hopefully I'll see him again.
And that he's wearing.
Yeah, he's wearing it, because I'm gonna get a picture of that. Plus, I want to tell him that I found out some more information about Poison Springs that
Right,
he
sure.
might be interested in. But yeah, he's a complete naturalist, lives by himself, married to her, but she owns 2 houses. And then I said, oh yeah, that's right, you have 2 houses full of stuff, and then you have 13 outbuildings? She goes, no, 16.
This is a new month.
Yeah, see, my ulterior motive is I need to get your address and get your name down so that when that estate sale goes, I want to be there.
Yeah.
Because she told me, she says, I don't just have stuff, I have really good stuff.
Yeah. 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 This is a lifelong passion.
Oh, she's amazing. And she's quite a character. So, and Liz even liked her. Well, how can you not like her when she comes up and says, well, you didn't tell me she was that beautiful? And I'm thinking, I didn't even tell you I was married.
Does she come from Blue Blood? Probably.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
I just really wouldn't doubt it. She's quite a character, though. And I'm like, why are you living here? You lived in Albuquerque, awesome. And I said, I love New Mexico. And she's like, oh, I like it here. It's hot, humid, and blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. She just their own.
I can live here and be hot and humid too.
Yeah, I can live here if I've got air
But I have air
conditioning.
conditioning. That's what I was thinking.
I can live here.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband doesn't believe in it.
But no, I'm like, yeah, that just makes sense. That's just the kind of person he is. But yeah, she said, she says, we'll be taking a walk or something. He'll reach down and pick up something, start chewing on it. I'm like, yeah, that's you good. I said, I wish he and my mom could run into each other. I said, she's passed away, but if they had run into each other, they'd have been, yin and yang. She was the same way, man.
That's something.
She just knew all that stuff.
Yeah. And never imparted it.
Yeah. You remember Yule Gibbons on TV? Did you know parts of pine trees are edible?
Have you ever eaten a pine tree? Well, yes, I eat them all the time.
Yeah. Only when I got smacked in the mouth with one. It reminds me, when I was in Boy Scouts, we were at Camporee. And Donnie and Tarrant and I were sharing a tent, and right next to our tent were a bunch of fir saplings. Okay, and I'm, just being a dumbass. It had all those little blisters, those pitch blisters on them. You remember that?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there popping a few. I've done it before. You know what I mean? Pop this one right in my eye. I'm like going back and
Talk about burn.
yeah, and so it was later. Donnie had his scout manual with him, and he goes, "Look at this, Joe." And it was in the manual. Don't pop these things, and it shows a guy getting his eye squirted in his eye. I'm like, well, I know where that came from.
Yeah, don't learn from Joe Green. Wow, you're famous.
Yeah.
What one will do to get some notoriety.
Yeah.
It's all right, man. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Probably nothing.
Yeah, I got stuff. I'll go home and get changed and do stuff.
And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go home and, well, put this on the internet. See how it worked out.
Yeah, okay, I hope it works.
Yeah. Like I said, if it's not loud enough, I'll compress the shit out of it. Squeeze it down so it won't be loud. Yeah. Well, I got thinking about it, and I thought, God, stupid AirPods. I mean, the last one we did, you were coming through quite well, but I wasn't coming through very well, and I think it's because the AirPods didn't know quite what to do with all of it.
Huh?
And I said, okay, I'm going to just try this.
No, they were going, this guy's head is big.
That's narcissism for you.
Yeah, what? That's a big head.
And then I'll go and publish it. I didn't put the little video, about brothers bullshit. That's bullshit. I got this little clip.
Yeah.
I didn't put it on there. I was so excited about putting the new brothers out there.
Oh boy.
I'm like, and then I published it. And I go, God, I can't rip it off.
So how many followers do you have?
Oh, 6.
6.
One of them's the gal here at the tobacco shop. I was talking about something, and she goes, "Well, what's your channel?" And I told her, and she's following.
Oh, hey, I watched an interesting movie the other night. It's about the GameStop, how retail investors ran GameStop up to nail the hedge fund guys.
Oh, really?
I mean, I knew what happened. I didn't pay real close attention to it, but I knew it was happening and what was happening. But it's nice to have the people go after the big guys. These hedge fund managers. They don't care. They buy up all this stuff and
they just want to.
They just sell it off, and that's their money. But what they were doing was they were shorting the GameStop stock, and so as that goes down, they make money because they're betting on it going down. So they force it down.
Yeah.
They've ruined a lot of companies that way, and so this guy just kind of decided, he's done his analysis of GameStop, always liked this guy, and realized that what's happening here is they're getting shorted. And he basically got people online to start investing in it and hold. And we're talking about a guy that made a $50,000 investment. When they finally got done, he was $34 million.
Get out of here.
And everybody was making money off it, and it just kind of became a big, let's get the man. And people were investing, they were holding, and then there's an investment group called Robinhood. Well, these guys they became the platform to make the trades.
They were the broker.
Yeah, okay. And it was no load, so you could make your investment, you didn't get charged fees, and so people were making these investments. And that's how Robinhood was supposed to work. is we'll let you make money, and you don't have to pay the other guy for it.
Well, there's a lot of controversy surrounding Robin Hood.
Oh yeah. Well, that was started. That's what started it. Is because somehow they got bought out by the hedge fund guys or something like that, and they decided that they basically stopped allowing people to buy more stock.
That's right.
In GameStop, and they screwed it up for a little while.
And here's the thing: everybody's like GameStop.
GameStop, yeah.
GameStop.
Yeah, that place.
What?
I didn't even know they were public.
I thought there was only like 8 of them in the United States.
I know. So,
I remember reading about that.
You should watch that. It's informative,
Yeah.
and it basically is a nice explanation on how all this stock market crap works.
Yeah.
And they just basically point out it's the wealthy that.
Well, they're
and-
doing that with cryptocurrency too. They'll beef it up,
Yeah,
pop it
well,
up.
and they've been doing that for years. I mean, if you want to read a good history of a bad stock market, the Vancouver stock market.
Vancouver.
Yeah, been going for probably as long as the New York stock market.
Right.
But the thing is they've been notorious for all these years for doing that. Somebody will buy this stock and run it up and then sell it out when everybody's run it up. Well, in this case, what he did was he got them not to sell out. But when Robinhood screwed up for him, everybody started selling. Of course, what are you going to do? I mean, I just lost half of what I had. Might as well get what I can out of it. But what happened went through these well, I'm telling you the whole movie. It went through these machinations of, the FCC wanted to, they had these guys were told to come and speak testify to Congress and all this stuff. And what happened was this guy just basically laid it out. This is what's going on, and the Robinhood and the hedge fund managers they couldn't deny it. Okay?
Yeah, they couldn't.
And so what happened was Congress came in and kicked some people around and stuff like this. They were allowed to invest again in GameStop, and these people that pulled their money out stuck it right back in, and it shot it right back up.
Yeah.
And it's still trading unbelievably.
I know, and when I first read about that, I'm like, GameStop?
Yeah, no, GameStop. But it's called Dumb Money.
It's dumb money.
It's the name of the movie. And dumb money refers to retail stock investors.
Yeah.
That's dumb money. They don't know what they're doing. And because it's all a rigged system. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. It's rigged for the wealthy.
Yes.
That's why when everybody says, well, look how good the stock market is, who cares? That has nothing to do with our economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what it's something that you can say, but it doesn't mean the economy's strong at all.
No, all it is a banner that says, okay, it's time to panic.
Yep.
It's time not to panic.
Right, exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah. No, I remember reading about the Vancouver Stock Exchange. And, you'd have a company that would run it up like this, and all they'd do is change, and then they get the guys, the wealthy would get their money out, and then everybody, you just paid them a lot of money. And then they just call the company something else and do the same thing just over and over and over. And that's how the game was, that's how it worked.
Milk the system. Well,
No,
what you're
con
doing
the
is,
people.
fleecing the people is what you're doing. Yeah, exactly.
But it's called Dumb Money. You probably would get a kick out of it. Very informative, to be honest with you.
Dumb money.
It's got Seth Rogen in it. What's his name? He was Biff in Back to the Future. He's the comedian. He's been in a lot of shows. I can't think of it. There's like 3 or 4, high-end, I call them high-end actors, actors in it. But it's a good. The cool thing about the movie is how informative it is.
Yeah. And what platform do you watch that on?
I watched that on Netflix. But it's called Dumb Money. You probably can find it on anywhere.
YouTube.
No, it was on Yeah, it was Netflix. Yeah.
I don't have Netflix.
I do.
Yeah.
I have
I don't
electricity at my house.
Because you've got a fiber wire.
I got a fiber wire.
Look at you, all fibered and everything.
Yep, I'm all fibered up.
God.
Come on, bring the apocalypse. I have fiber. I can watch it.
It's going to be one of those squirrels going to chew right through that wire for you. Or a bird.
No, squirrel can't make it in my yard. For 2 nights, Bandit has treed raccoons. One was a young one that was in a small tree. Last night, was it last night? Yeah, no, night before. I'm walking from my hellhole to the house, and I hear him barking across the road, and I look, and there's a corner post, fence post, and I look, there's something sitting on the top. I thought, is he barking at an owl? Why would an owl sit there and take it? So I went and got my light. No, it was another bigger raccoon. And that night, I took the girl out to go potty in the front and step on the porch, and she immediately alerts on something on the porch. There's a little old possum, and it runs out in the yard, and she runs out there and she's barking at it. I told her, no, leave it alone. I should have went out there. I wanted to catch it, and pet it and take it in and scare the crap out of Liz.
Yeah, there you go. Put it under the blankets.
No, I'd never lived through that. She does know what super glue is.
They did do that to Dad, his brothers, at the deer camp.
They put a possum in.
Put a possum under the blankets. Yeah.
Yeah, I catch a meme every once in a while, a reel on a guy that when he sees a possum, he just goes and catches it and starts petting it and talking about it, which is good because there's 2 things I watch out for: is possums and turtles. I saved 3 turtles this weekend. Yay! 3 box turtles.
I remember stopping. Karen and I were out tootling around and turtle out the road. Okay, I pulled over and went to grab him. He was going this way across the road. There's a mud hole over here. I mean, he's a snapping turtle. And I grabbed him. And then he slipped away from me and he went under the car. And I had to drive the car forward to expose him again. And that's when I picked him up and I said, "You're going back where he started."
Yeah, no, they tell you to wherever direction he's pointing, get it over there.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you're just going to have to fight for it again.
I did that pulling into Buck Range and stopped and got a turtle. Lady stopped behind me, and I put it over and got him in the direction he was going and everything. And as I'm getting in the car, I said, sorry, I stopped for turtles. She goes, so do we. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I do too. I stop unless I'm traveling 60 miles an hour and I'm going, I'm already a quarter mile down the road. I ain't gonna back up.
Well, I own big time because years ago when we had our pontoon, and I was taking it up to that northern. I can't even think where the town, what the place is called, but that's where our boat slip was at. And I was taking the pontoon up there to the boat slip, and I come off of 70 and then got on this road to head up that way. And as I'm coming around the corner here, there's a turtle right there, and there was nothing I could do to avoid it. Ran straight over it, and you could just hear it go, pop! One of those sounds that just won't get out of my head.
Yeah, and that brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, and now 2 of those turtles were about that big. So I'm like, you got a long life to go, guys.
Yeah.
Now, when we lived in Woodlawn, they would come out of the woods and get in the yard. I'd always take them in and take fingernail polish and paint Joe on them, and then let them go. They're probably screaming, "Oh my God, my back's hurting!" But I got that from when we had that cabin up in up by Canada there, and Liz and I got up one morning. I had an old canoe, and we just canoe around a little bit on the river there. So we went on up and made this turn and everything, and I'm looking at this something on the rocks, and I'm like, oh, it looks like a turtle. It was a turtle about that big, okay? And I says, what's on its back there? And
Jennifer.
I said, let's just go up there and see if we can get close enough to it. The closer we got, I'm like looking, and I'm like, I don't believe it. That's my turtle. Somebody had painted Joe on it. I'm like that, and I actually got a picture of it.
Oh, really?
Somewhere. I have a picture of it. And yeah, that's my turtle. So
He was probably looking for you.
yeah, it probably was. Screaming, my back's on fire. But no, I'd do that every time. I'd just put Joe on each one of them.
Well, I mean, I guess that's better than carving it in. Because people don't realize, they had nerve endings on that shell.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, they do.
I don't know. Maybe it's like the ectoderma here,
Yeah.
you don't really I can feel that, but might have a little paint or something on there.
Yeah.
Now the ultimate turtlist. Let's call him turtlist. That's a coined word that I just thought I'd enjoy.
Unlike Titleist,
But turtlist.
golf ball turtle.
The true turtlist of our family has to be David.
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget to when he was sending out. Was it an email? Might have been emails. I don't know about Facebook back then. This has been a while. When little Dave was little guy, he found an eastern box turtle, and of course that's not indigenous to the western states.
Right. Therefore, it must be boiled. For science.
Now, when he was younger, yes, it must be boiled. But no, they. I don't know if he sent it off to one of his friends in Alabama or whatever, but they boxed this thing up and sent it to down south where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it probably was picked up from somebody heading back
Yeah,
to
might
work.
have been.
Oh, let's take it home and feed it.
Yeah.
Oh, this thing's a pain in the ass. Throw it out. Yeah.
Yep, that's how invasive animals get. But speaking of invasive, have you ever seen any of those reels where people are on those rivers and those fish jump into the boat? It's it's some kind of fish from China.
Piranha.
No. These things are about this big, and I mean, if you're and the motor freaks them out, and they literally jump out of the water. And they have parties now where they're running up. People have helmets on and stuff with nets to catch these things in the air. And but they're highly and dangerous. I mean, think about it. You're zipping along and a fish. You're going 40 miles an hour and a fish jumps out and you hit it in the face. I mean, you've got problems.
It could knock you out.
Good.
Well, have you ever seen flying fish?
No, I never have. I always wanted to see one.
Yeah.
But they don't get very big, do they?
They don't. They're about this size, but we were tootling along. I don't know, 20 knots, I guess. And our bow went down, and there's flying fish all over the place. And one flew and landed on the bow. Wow, check that out!
Oh, flying
fish! Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, flying fish. Yeah. Interesting critters.
Yeah. Speaking of invasive, the Great Lakes, they've been infiltrated by what's called a zebra clam.
Oh.
Okay? And these things are prolific. Okay? But here's the deal. There are so many in the lakes now. The lakes haven't been that clean since pristine times. They literally clean the lakes up.
So were they introduced
Yeah,
for that
yeah,
purpose.
probably. Yeah, who knows how they were brought in.
Yeah.
Another thing from evidently China or something like that. But they're just they're so prolific. They literally clean the water up. You know, all that crap they used to dump in there. And, I mean, at one time, you know, Cuyahoga River caught on fire. You know, that's just how bad the places were getting.
Didn't the Erie catch on fire too? Like
Yeah, well, no, I might have, but back in the day, you know, they just pumped everything into it.
Right.
But all that stuff now is the lakes are just super clean. And you go out into the lake and you take your boat, you have to guarantee that you spray it off before you haul it anywhere.
Oh, okay.
So,
We have to bleach it down.
well, I don't know how that all works. But yeah, that's one of the big dangers now. Especially like weeds and stuff. You get certain weeds in a lake, it'll just take it over.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Karen's cousin had a big pondish like lake, and there was some kind of weed that was infiltrating it, and he had to buy some special fish to put in there to take care of that.
I've heard of that, you know. I've heard of people putting, I can't think of the fish, it's a sucker fish.
Some kind of, yeah, he had to buy.
And it only eats weeds and stuff like
And
that.
it was highly regulated too. I mean, he had to jump through some hoops to get that done.
Yeah, no, I believe that because, you know, it's just the spider and the fly.
It is.
The little old woman, you know, little woman that ate the fly. I don't know why she swallowed that fly.
Right, she'll die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you just keep adding something to eat that and eat that. And then she swallowed the horse. And she died, of course.
I love how that ended.
Yeah.
She died, of course.
That's my, you know, second favorite. My first favorite will always be Lucy with Linus. Linus says, "Tell me, come on, read me a story, read me a story, read me a story." Okay. Once upon a time, there was a man. He lived, he died. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Keep it concise, okay?
Yeah. Get to the point.
Yeah, really. I ain't got time. Later on, we'll have Charlie Brown kick the football. Well, I guess better get out of here.
Alrighty, had enough. Nobody can stand too much of this.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And, you know, this is for Dave
it is.
and the other 5 people that actually take interest in this.
Who's going to sit through 2 hours of us bullshit?
Yeah,
Dave.
yeah. I would tell you to get a life, but Dave has one.
He does, yeah. Take care, y'all.
See y'all later.
All
Next
right.
time.
Bro.